What up, friends? Welcome back. It's tag time again. Welcome to the month of August. Unfortunately, summer vacation is winding down. I hate to be that reminder, but it is soon coming to an end. There's only a matter of weeks, but there's still time to get some stuff done this summer, which is a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. You know, when I ride by schools, I don't like it. I'm not even in school, but I think it's kind of messed up when the day after you get out of school, the school puts up a sign that says, hey, class is back in session August 13th or 27th or whatever day it is. I'm like, man, we just got out of school. Why do we have to be reminded when school's coming back in session? And that's what you think about June and July, but hey, it is time now to get ready to get back into school. If you did not get things done this summer that you wanted to get done, now is the time. This is the last couple weeks that you have to really focus and get some effort going on those things. And look, it's not too late. Maybe you wasted much of your summer or some of your summer, but it's not too late to still get some things done. You can still grow, you can still make some changes, and you can still do some things to make this summer not wasted time, but time that you were able to get ahead in life. So today, what we're going to talk about is our priorities. Our title that we're going to call it is What Really Matters, because we want to think about just for a few minutes about what really matters to you. Now, what matters to you may be different than what matters to me, and what matters to me may be different than the person who lives across the street. And so I want to ask you, what really matters? If we look at our lives, if I was able to look at your life, or you were able to look at my life from the outside in, we would be able to see what really matters to us, even if we didn't know that much about each other. If you could see what I spent my time doing, or as the Bible says, if you could see what I was spending my money on, then you would know what really mattered to me. And so as I ask you what really matters to you, one, I want to know what matters to you. And then two, we want to think about what really matters in the grand scheme of life. Because there are times in our lives where things matter to us that should not matter. And there are also times in our lives where things don't matter to us at all when they really should. So hopefully as we look at a little bit of scripture and we talk a little bit more today, we can get some clarity on that and start making steps in the right direction. Glad you've taken this time to come to study with us. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. Very glad to have you. This is a time where every week we get together, particularly for our 6th graders to 12th graders, and we focus on God's Word and find out what it is that He says to us. If you're outside of that range, or if you are outside of our church, you're still welcome to watch this video, of course. If this is something that God has led you to and He has some word for you, get it. You're more than welcome to have it. So we're going to start reading in Ephesians in just a moment. But before we do that, I want us to think real quick about life in general. There are different statistics out there for how we spend our time. And if we think about it, I know I can think about a lot of time in different points of my life, as well as right now, where there are just times that I waste time. There are times where I'm not able to get as much done as I want to get done. Sometimes there's a good reason for that. Sometimes other things pop up that you just have to take care of and you get those things done. But there are times where we're just not getting things done that we want to get done because we get our attention diverted, or we get distracted, or things happen and we start to pay attention to little things and we're not paying attention to the big picture. And then at the end of a week, or at the end of a month, or at the end of a year, we look back on that time and say, you know what, man, I didn't really achieve as much as I really wanted to. So as we get to the end of the summer, before most of us start going back to school, are there things that you wanted to do this summer that would help you move ahead? It's said that over the summer, when we don't do any focus on school and things like that, we actually lose smarts, we lose brain power, we lose information that we learned last year. So some of the stuff that you studied and learned last year has slipped away little by little throughout the summer. So if you want to go back to school year ahead of where you left off last year, or if you want to be at the same point, now is a great time to do some things to get you to that point. Maybe you need to start studying a little bit more. Maybe in a week or two, or like the week before school, maybe you want to start going to bed earlier and waking up earlier so you don't have that super shock to your system on the first day of school when you couldn't go to sleep until late and then you have to get up early and then you have that whole thing all day. where you're tired and trying to get used to the new schedule. Whatever it is that you wanted to do this summer, try and take some time when we're done to figure out how you can get that done, or at least get closer to those things on your list. Like I said, we're going to read from Ephesians chapter 5. I got 2 points for the first one that can tell me is Ephesians in the Old Testament or the New Testament. Shout it out wherever you are. All right, 2 points to you if you said that Ephesians is in the New Testament, because it is. So I want you to turn there, tap there, flip over there, whatever it is that you're using for a Bible. Go ahead and grab it. Get to Ephesians chapter 5. I want to read first out of the King James Version of the Bible because that's the one I read the most. I believe it is the most accurate. And we're going to start at verse number 15. Now this week I want to read from the King James Version and from another version just for clarity. But whatever version it is that you have, read along there, starting at verse number 15. It says, "See then that we walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is." There's a lot that we can unpack there. It's Old English and stuff like that. But he starts out in verse 15 saying, "See then that we walk circumspectly." When you spend time this week studying and growing in your relationship with the Lord, go and see what's above verse number 15. Because what comes in verse number 15 is a result of something that came in 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, whatever he was talking about before, leads us into this thing. But we don't have time to study all of that. He tells us that we should walk circumspectly. That means that we should pay attention to what we're doing. And a lot of times when you look at the word walk in the Bible, it doesn't just mean like we're walking down the street, moving our legs, singing do-I-diddy. It means that we are living our life, or pay attention to how we are living our life. So walk equals living your life or your lifestyle. So he says that we should walk or live our lives, that we're paying attention, not being foolish but wise. When we are not spending our time on purpose, when we're not doing things to cause us to get ahead on purpose, then we're being foolish. We're wasting time. That doesn't mean that every time that we sit down to take a break is wasted time. We do need to take care of ourselves. We do need to take breaks. We do need to relax. Vacations are great, and you should take them when you have opportunity, but we can't always vacation. We can't always be on a break. So the most important thing is, what is the purpose of what we're doing right now? And is what we're doing going to help us get to the point that we want to be at? He also says in verse number 16 to redeem the time, because the days are evil. The days are evil, just meaning if we're not paying attention, the days are going to go by. And there is enough going on in this world. There's enough going on in culture. There's enough going on in life that we don't have to look hard to find bad things. We don't have to go and focus and figure out how to waste time. It's very easy to waste time. It's very easy to go the wrong direction in our lives. It's too easy to not get ahead. And so we need to redeem the time, and instead of going along with the flow of the current, we need to make sure that we're going where we want to go on purpose. Primary difference between achievers and non-achievers is just that little effort to move forward a little bit each and every day. The last verse that we're looking at says, "Wherefore be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is." If we don't understand what the will of the Lord is, then that is foolishness. If we live our lives, even if we reach the pinnacle of success in whatever area it is that we are going for in our lives, if we're not understanding God's will within that time, we're being foolish. LeBron James, one of the best basketball players, if he's not doing what God has called him to do with his life, he's being foolish. Whatever person that you can think of who's in the top of the music industry or the film industry or whatever other area in your life, if they're not doing what God has called them to do, then they are being foolish. They can be foolish and wealthy. They might be foolish and good looking. They might be foolish and successful. But going back to the beginning question, what really matters? Does it matter to be successful and have all this stuff, but still foolish? Does it matter if we achieve all these great things and get all these accolades, if we're still just as foolish as the person who's living on the street? So the question is, what matters? Right when we're done with this, before you do anything else, take a moment. As we're talking about our priorities and we're talking about what matters, I want you to look at your life and I want you to tell me, or I want you to write down a list of 5 things. I want you to show me. You don't have to put it in the comments. You can say hi in the comments, do that. You can say some other stuff in the comments, but this way you can keep to yourself. But I want you to write down a small list, your 5 top priorities. What are the 5 most important things to you? In different military branches, they have a thing that they'll say, and it's usually 4 of them, and they might say God, country, family, core, or something like that, and they list out those 4 things. That's supposed to mean that God is the number 1 thing in their life, and then serving their country is the number 2 thing, or family, or whatever it is that I don't even remember the list I just made. But I want you to make a list of 5 important things to you. I know that my relationship with God is number 1, and that includes spending time with Him, doing what He wants me to do with my life, the way we spend our finances, things like that. My relationship with my wife, my relationship with my children. I'm trying to be a good citizen and a good American is what I try and focus on. And there are lots of different things and parts of our lives, but we have to prioritize them, because I can't, one of the things I've been trying to do lately is spend more time just doing some fun stuff that I've wanted to do, whether it's taking my kids camping or going on hikes or bike rides and things like that. I want to try and do that more, because year after year after year, I don't do it for whatever reason, and then years have gone by and I haven't done anything. So I want to put some of those things higher up on my priority list, but I can't put those things so high on my priority list that they take over my time with my family, can't take over my time with my wife, can't take over my time with the Lord. Now, there are times where, I may have time to spend doing this, or I may have time to spend doing that, and I may do that, but that's only after I've spent the adequate amount of time in those other areas. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about our priorities, how we spend our time, and things that we should be doing. But particularly for you, I want you to write down your 5 top priorities for your life, and don't forget the things that you want to get done before school starts. So maybe your 4th and 5th thing can be the things that you specifically want to do before school starts, and make the first 3, the top 3, the things that are priorities in your life all the time, no matter what is going on. Write that list and then come and show me at church. Text me if you have my phone number, which I'm not going to give out here, but I want to see it. Let me see your 5 priorities. I don't want to judge it. I just want to see the things that are important to you. And then take opportunity and read these scriptures again. I want to read Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 to 17 one more time, just from another version of the Bible, excuse me, just for clarity. And then we will shut this down. So in another version of Ephesians chapter 5, starting in verse 15, it says, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Therefore, don't be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is." It's very important for us not to be foolish. We're foolish when we don't consider God's will, and we just go on doing whatever it is that we think we feel like doing. And also, don't be foolish thinking that things that don't matter do matter. It really doesn't matter how many people like you in high school. I thought high school was important. I thought taking care of my friends in high school was super important. Less than a year after high school, I only talked to 2 out of my 4 closest friends. And 10 years after that, I barely talked to any of them. It was down to 1. And so we just try and think about these things. How is this really going to affect the rest of my life? Does it really matter? Yes, we want friends. Yes, we want people to like us. Yes, we want things to be a certain way. But does it really matter that much in the grand scheme of life? That's what I want you to think about. Don't forget to make that list. So if you could help us out on the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below. All that kind of stuff helps us. I hope I can see your face live and in person very soon. Don't forget, we have service every week at Berks Elementary. Our main service at 10:30. We have an event coming up real soon, so stay tuned for that. All right, Tag, my friends, that's it. That's my time. So Tag,